Hello everyone. Today we are going to discuss Allingham diagram, thermodynamics of reduction process. Basically in Allingham diagram, it shows temperature dependency of the stability of a compounds. It analyzes used to evaluate the ease of reduction of a metal oxide. Whenever we have certain metal oxide and if we want to reduce this metal oxide, so with the help of Allingham diagram, mathematically, thermodynamically, we can have analysis like which metal can reduce which metal oxide. So first in Allingham diagram, we need to draw the curve of delta G versus T. We have this relation delta G equal to delta H minus T delta S. So along y-axis we are going to take delta G gives free energy change, and along x-axis we are going to take temperature. So delta G, this is the delta G is basically for free energy change for the formation of metal oxide. For formation of any oxide we have delta G and we need to see its variation with respect to temperature. When we change the temperature, how this delta G changes, that we need to see in a Allingham diagram. Now in this graph, of delta G versus T has slope as minus delta H. If you are taking delta G along y-axis and temperature along x-axis, you will get equation of a straight line y equal to m, slope is minus of delta S, x plus c, where y-intercept is delta H. So we are definitely considering delta H is independent of temperature. This assumption is taken here. So delta G formation for the metal oxide y-axis is along y-axis and temperature is along x-axis, with slope is minus of delta S. Delta G is basically free energy change for the formation of oxide. Slope is change in entropy. So first we need to observe the entropy concept. In case of solid, the degree of randomness is very less, hence its entropy is very less. For liquid, it has more degree of randomness in comparison to solid, but the gaseous phase has very large degree of randomness in comparison to solid and liquid both. So the entropy of gases is very large, so entropy increases in this manner. In a given chemical reaction, if we have any gaseous reactant or product, then the change in entropy mainly decided on the basis of gaseous reactant and product. If the moles of gases are increasing, then definitely entropy will increase. If the moles of gas are decreasing, then entropy of the system will decrease. So it depends on the change in moles of gas. The entropy of solid and liquid are very less in comparison to gases. So we have this point. If moles of gases decreases, then entropy during a chemical reaction decreases. Hence slope, which is minus of delta S, it will be positive if delta S is negative. So in any given chemical reaction, if the moles of gases are decreasing, then the entropy during the chemical reaction decreases and it has positive slope. We draw the curve of delta G versus temperature and vice versa. That means if the moles of gas are increasing during a chemical reaction, then entropy increases If entropy increases, then the slope will be negative. Delta G decreases with increase in temperature. Now we need to observe this three reactions. First, any metal, generally metal exists in solid form. Very few metal like mercury and gallium, they can exist in liquid form also. But maximum of the metal can exist in solid form. When they react with O2 in gaseous form, they form metal oxide, and metal oxide is also in solid form. This is not a balanced reaction. We just need to observe whether the moles of gas are increasing or decreasing. So in this case, 1 mole of solid, some moles of solid react with the gases and give the solid. So moles of gases are decreasing. There is no moles, 0 moles of gases in the product side. So delta Ng for this case is negative. If delta Ng is negative, delta S will be negative, and the slope of delta G, that is a formation, this is the formation reaction for the oxide, इसका जो the delta G for this reaction has slope minus of delta S, that will be positive. That means if we increase the temperature, delta G formation increases. Delta G formation increases with increase in temperature. So this is the formation reaction for metal oxide. Delta G formation for metal oxide increases if temperature increases. Second curve, carbon solid plus O2 gas giving CO2 gas. This is the balanced reaction. In this case, you can see that 1 mole of gas is present in the reactant side and 1 mole of gas is present in the product side. So the moles of gases are not changing. If the moles of gases are not changing, then delta Ng is 0. Hence, the entropy of such kind of reaction is almost 0. There will be no change in entropy. So delta Ng is 0. Delta S is almost 0. Slope of such kind of curve is 0. So delta G formation of CO2 remains same with respect to temperature. So with respect to temperature, it will not change for the formation of CO2. Now the third case, carbon solid plus half O2 gas giving CO gas. So the formation of CO, this is also one of the oxide of carbon. So when carbon react with O2, half mole of O2 is present in the reactant side and 1 mole of CO is present in the product side. Delta Ng for such reaction is plus half, that is positive. So entropy change will be positive and the slope of the curve will be negative for delta G formation increases with decrease in temperature. So इसका formation, delta G formation for such kind of reaction increases with decrease in temperature, or we can say that if we increase the temperature, delta G formation decreases. So for metal oxide formation, delta G formation increases with increase in temperature. For carbon dioxide formation, delta G is almost independent, and for the last case, delta G decreases with increase in temperature. Now see this Allingham diagram. This is the Allingham diagram for various metal oxide formation. In this Allingham diagram, delta G is 0 here. At origin it is not 0. So 0, minus 500, minus 1000 in kilojoules along x-axis. We are taking temperature along x-axis. Clear? So temperature is 500 degrees Celsius, 1000 degrees Celsius and so on. For carbon giving carbon dioxide which has 0 slope, so this is the 0 slope for C giving CO2. For C giving CO, this is the line for C giving CO which has negative slope. So delta G formation is decreasing if we increase the temperature along x-axis. So temperature is along x-axis, enthalpy of free energy of formation is along y-axis. and for all other metal oxide formation you will get the positive slope. So all like Al2O3 formation slope is positive, it increases with increase in temperature. For MgO it increases, for HgO, for Ag2O, for CuO. So for all of them, for the formation of metal oxide, delta G formation increases with increase in temperature. But here you can note one point, delta G formation is negative for all of them. So delta G formation is negative for maximum of them. So very few of them can cross this line delta G equal to 0. Okay, so this is basically Ellingham diagram. Now we need to analyze this Ellingham diagram, like which metal can reduce oxides of other metals, when carbon can be used as a reducing agent for the metal oxide. So some features of this Ellingham diagram. First point, graph for the formation of metal oxides. All slope upward because delta G increases with increase in temperature as slope is positive. For all the metal oxide formation, slope is upward, that is positive slope. With increase in temperature, delta G increases. So for all the metal oxide, basically delta G is increasing. So this is the first point. Second point, the free energy changes all follows a straight line unless the material melts or vaporizes. So second point, all follow a straight line, but they can change the slope when the metal melts or vaporizes. On melting or vaporization, slope further increases as delta S increases for this reaction. See, initially this metal is present in solid form. When it reacts with the gases O2, it gives metal oxide in the solid form. When we increase the temperature, this metal can be converted into liquid form or gaseous form. So when it converts into liquid form, again the delta S becomes more negative because liquid has less entropy than solid. So entropy of product minus entropy of reactant will be the entropy change. So reactant entropy is decreasing if they melt or vaporize. So delta S further decreases. If delta S is decreasing, slope will be minus of delta S, slope further increases. So on melting or vaporization, slope further increases as delta S decreases. So if you observe in this graph, let's say calcium oxide, first the slope is positive till here, then slope is again increasing from this point. It remains positive, but the value of slope is increasing from this point. So at this temperature, definitely calcium is converting into liquid phase. This would be the possible melting point of the calcium. If you observe for MgO, this could be the possible melting point of magnesium. So whenever we get the change of slope, like for CuO, the slope is changing at this point. So this would be the melting point of copper. For HgO, Hg generally present in liquid phase. So this would be the boiling point of Hg, mercury, when the slope is changing. So they follow a straight line unless or until metal melts or vaporizes. Whenever metal melts or vaporizes, their slope again increases. Next point, when temperature is raised, a point will be reached where the graph crosses delta G equal to 0 line. So whenever we increase the temperature, definitely if the metal oxide formation has positive slope, they will definitely cross the line delta G equal to 0. Above this temperature, in free energy change for the formation of metal oxide becomes positive and it should decompose into the metal and dioxygen. So the significance of delta G is basically free energy of formation. Whenever free energy of formation is negative, the formation is feasible, is possible, is spontaneous. Whenever delta G is positive, it is non-spontaneous. So that means the opposite reaction will take place. If we are talking about this reaction, so if this reaction is non-spontaneous, delta G is positive. So for the backward reaction, delta G will be negative and the metal oxide will dissociate into metal and oxygen on its own without help of any reducing agent. So the temperature at which delta G becomes positive, crosses delta G equal to 0 line, the dissociation takes place on its own. So if you see in this graph, this is delta G equal to 0 line. Copper oxide will dissociate on its own at this particular temperature. So around 1100 degrees Celsius. For Ag2O, it will dissociate around 500 degrees Celsius. Clear? So whenever they cross this delta G equal to 0 line, they will dissociate on their own. We don't need any kind of reducing agent for the to convert this metal oxide into metal. So this is the fourth point. Now the fifth point. Theoretically, all metal oxide can be decomposed to give metal and oxygen. So basically, if we talk theoretically, all metal oxide can be decomposed to give metal and oxygen if sufficiently high temperature can be attained. If sufficiently high temperature can be attained, all can be dissociate into metal and oxygen. But practically, decomposition of oxide at very high temperature does not hold out after its boiling point. So if the required temperature, desired temperature is very, very high, so it may be possible the metal will melt, the metal oxide will melt before converting into its metal and oxygen. So for some metals, when we require very high temperature, like you can observe here, this Al2O3 line will cut this delta G equal to 0 somewhere around 2000-3000 degrees Celsius. So practically it is not possible to achieve such kind of temperature, or at that particular temperature they may be converted into vapor phase. So practically it is not possible to convert metal into vapor phase and to collect them into vapor phase on a large scale. Sixth point, HGO and Ag2O can be decomposed at very low temperature. So HGO and Ag2O can be decomposed at very low temperature in comparison to others. So you can observe Ag2O can be decomposed at this particular temperature, which is around 400 degrees Celsius, and HGO can be decomposed at this temperature. So practically we can convert HGO and Ag2O into their metal and oxygen at low temperature, which is practically possible. Now, the seventh point, which is very useful, any metal will reduce the oxide of other metal which lie above it in the Allingham diagram, because free energy becomes more negative by an amount equal to the difference between the two graphs at that particular temperature. So, listen. I'll explain you using this graph. In the seventh point, it is written like any metal which present below can undergo oxidation change, and it can reduce the oxide of metal which present above it. So if we have MgO at this particular temperature, let's say we talk about 710 degrees Celsius. This is the line for the 710. So magnesium can reduce Al2O3. Magnesium itself form MgO, and Al2O3 can be converted into aluminium. So the line which present below, basically it has more negative delta G. So the formation of oxide is more feasible, more possible, the line which is present below. So if you take any metal from the below line, if you take any oxide of the above line, so above oxide can be reduced by any metal which is present below it in the Allingham diagram, and the value of delta G for such kind of reaction is the difference between two lines at that particular temperature. So delta G becomes more negative if any metal which is present below is react with the oxide present above it. See this point. Next point, M1 is any metal which can reduce oxide of M2. So basically M1 metal can reduce oxide of M2 if delta G formation of M1 oxide, delta G formation for the first metal oxide is more negative than delta G formation of the metal 2 oxide. If any metal has more negative value of delta G formation, then in comparison to other, then it can undergo oxidation change and it can reduce oxide of other metal. So any metal which is present below in Ellingham diagram, so any metal which is present below in Ellingham diagram, it has more negative delta G, so it can reduce other. Now see example, calcium can reduce magnesium oxide, aluminum oxide, copper oxide, silver oxide, clear? Magnesium oxide, magnesium cannot reduce calcium oxide, but magnesium can reduce Al2O3 and whatever present above it. So we can have such kind of possible reaction like MgO. Mg can react with any oxide which present above it. Let's say Mg can react with Al2O3 and it will convert into MgO itself and it can reduce aluminum. So thermodynamically we can have such kind of reaction. This reaction thermodynamically is possible. Clear? At any given temperature, whatever the difference between this delta G lines will be the delta G for such kind of reaction. Clear? Now see, in this Ellingham diagram, we have advantage of this negative slope of carbon. So carbon when converting into CO, it has negative slope, or carbon when converting into CO2 has zero slope. So they are not increasing with increase in temperature. All the lines are going in upward direction. At some low temperature or maybe at some high temperature, they will cross these lines. So when they cross C giving CO or C giving CO2 lines, after that particular temperature, carbon can be used as reducing agent. So you can observe from here, after this temperature, carbon can convert into carbon monoxide by reacting with CaO. So carbon can react with CaO and it can give CO, and calcium oxide can be converted into calcium. So after this point, the carbon line is present below, so it can reduce calcium oxide. Any line which present below that particular element or metal can reduce other oxide. So this is the advantage of negative slope of carbon giving carbon monoxide. At some low temperature or maybe some high temperature, it definitely can reduce all the metal oxide. Clear? Now one more observation. In this Ellingham diagram, this 3 curve delta G formation, which is in kilojoule, this 3 curve, C giving CO2, CO giving CO2, C giving CO, all these 3 curve basically intersect at a particular point. The temperature is 710 degrees Celsius. You need to memorize this value. So all these 3 curves, C giving CO2, C giving CO, CO giving CO2, all intersect at a particular temperature 710 degrees Celsius. The same point is written here. Below 710 degrees Celsius, CO giving CO2 has low delta G. So below 710 degrees Celsius, you can observe. So below this temperature, 710 degrees Celsius, this line is present below to C giving CO2 and C giving CO. So carbon monoxide which present below this, out of this 3 line, carbon monoxide line is present below. So it is better reducing agent. Carbon monoxide is better reducing agent than carbon. So this line is for CO, this for C and C. C giving CO2, C giving CO. So whichever line is present below is better reducing agent. But after 710 degrees Celsius, C giving CO line is present. So carbon is better reducing agent than carbon monoxide. Clear? See here. Below 710 degrees Celsius, CO giving CO2 has low delta G formation. So CO is better reducing agent than carbon. But above 710 degrees Celsius, carbon giving carbon monoxide is better reducing agent. Above 710 degrees Celsius, C giving CO is preferred, while below 710 degrees Celsius, C giving CO2 is preferred. Now see, if we have such question, out of this two reaction, which will be preferred? Carbon giving carbon monoxide, carbon giving carbon dioxide. So carbon giving carbon dioxide, carbon giving carbon monoxide below 710 degrees Celsius, C giving CO2 has lesser value of delta G, so this reaction would be preferred over this. And after 710 degrees Celsius, C giving CO has lesser value of delta G, more negative value of delta G, so this reaction would be preferred above the, in comparison to this reaction C giving CO2. So CO is the product after 710 degrees Celsius, CO2 is the product below 710 degrees Celsius if we use carbon as a reducing agent. So basically in Ellingham diagram, whichever line is present below, that particular element can reduce the other oxides which present above it, and itself it can form oxide, and for other elements or metal they can be converted into elemental form. They can undergo reduction change.